Hey guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, welcome, and my name is Tanya. Nice to meet you. And if you're a returning subscriber, welcome on back. You know I love you guys. I'm so happy that you are here for each and every one of my downloads. I do download most of my videos. I download all my videos on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time by an instant premiere. And then I come back on at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time the same evening to do like a live chat with you guys. So Tuesdays are really dedicated to you guys, just my YouTube people. I've actually been uploading a lot more, so make sure that you are hitting that notification bell icon to be alerted to all my new videos that I do post, because I've been posting every single day, it seems like, here recently. So if you want to make sure that you are getting all of those alerts, just make sure that that bell icon is hit on your desktop. And if you're using your phone, just make sure that you do have it toggled on for allowing all the YouTube notifications. If you would like to help the channel, you can do so by donating. Anything is tremendously appreciated. We have a Cash App and a PayPal, and you can donate anywhere from $1 on up. And our names on both of those are at Titanium Built. And that just helps me get that content to you guys out faster and better content to you guys sooner. So this video is going to be a little different than some of my other videos that I have done, and the background might change a little bit because I may switch as I go shopping to each place. I might record a little bit here and there because it's going to be taxing, this one that we're going to go over. So today I really wanted to hit on mental health. We've done a lot with injuries, and we've never really touched on mental health that much, and it's extremely crucial to your survival after having an accident or a trauma or a loss. It's crucial because you are going to have disabilities with your mental health. You just are, usually. I mean, if you don't, then that's awesome, but stick with me if you think you're going to. I basically want to tell you how my experience went after my car accident with the psychiatry and the psychology and all of that. And then I also want to, just tell you where I'm at right now with it. And, it gets easier, I want to say, and I hope it does, but I'm still going through it 9 years later. So you'll see me on a few videos I've done where I'll come on and I've told you guys how I felt about certain places. And I still will tell you how I feel about those places because my opinion has not changed at all. It's so sad that it hasn't. But we're going to go ahead and go straight to the video. So let's just get right into it. After my car accident, I was hospitalized for a month. So the first time I ever saw a doctor that was either for mental health, it was a psychologist. I saw him actually when I was in rehabilitation for my legs and all my injuries. He was amazing. I cannot remember his name, and I don't know why, because I had to tell all the other people his name because it was a French name, and he had a very strong accent. The other doctors couldn't even pronounce his name, and I could, and now I cannot think of it to save my soul. But he was so good. He got into my head. He's a psychologist, so they are just bred differently than psychiatrists, and I don't care, they just are. Psychologists, they want to get to know what's in there. They want to know what's going on deep down, and psychiatry is more of, here's your medication, see you later kind of deals. Where psychology kind of works, and they work at your brain, and they want to get to the bottom causes of all these things. So I was seeing him. He had my mental health was doing very well. I was doing very well in the hospital with him. I had no stress. He made sure that nobody created stress around me. It was really, really lovely to have him there. He would bring up things like have me do little tests, and that he would know things about me that I had never told anybody. He just knew, and he knew how to make me feel like there was nothing to be ashamed of. And I would come out, leaving his office, and I would just feel really refreshed, and I would feel like my brain was recharged, that's how you should feel after going to see a therapist. So I got to see him my 8 weeks over at Dodd Hall at OSU, Ohio State University, and I was just amazed by his work. I really was. after leaving the hospital, I had to leave him kind of because he was only an inpatient doctor. So after leaving the hospital, I went home to stay with my mom, and my mental health would have been okay if it wasn't for, how do I say this? If I would have had a better support system when I got there, I would have been okay. But I didn't. I instead had chaos, not from my mother, but from other family, and friends not being there. And so that's what really started to go, like my downcline, my mental health kind of was suffering, because I had just been in this accident and I didn't have a support system that was there, so in place like I should have. So that really affected my mental health. Comment below if you can relate in that in any way. But I feel like that's relatable. After you get in a serious accident or trauma or have a loss where you feel like people will be there, and they tend to disappoint you in that aspect. In my particular case, I had a shit ton of shit, like material things. Took me 2 days to put it all away, to find a spot for all the stuff that I got when I was in the hospital. Because when you almost die, people don't know what to do, so they buy you a lot of stuff. Like, I guess anything that you yell out, they're just going to buy it for you. Because I came home and I was like, why do I have so much like nail care shit? Like, it took me the longest time to figure it out. And I'm pretty sure I complained about my nail polish being chipped in the hospital, but I wasn't trying to really complain. It was the fact that first time I'd ever done my nails, and I actually painted them good. And then they took off the paint for me to see if I had like the circulation or whatever going. So that's why I said that. And I think my friends took that as like she wants nails shit. I don't know. But what I really wanted was my friends. The Saturday, which I got out on a Thursday, the Saturday they were supposed to come up and meet me for dinner, and not one of them, not one, showed up. Didn't even call. No text message. Those were the things that started fucking with my mental health after my accident, because I was already hard on myself. So then to have everybody just like disappear, I took that personal. And who wouldn't, really? So I decided to go back to counseling after I got out of the hospital. I thought it was a great idea. My mom thought it was a great idea. She had been going to the same counselor for years. He seemed like he was doing great with my mom. She was on great medications. They worked well for her. Like, she was doing okay for being my mama. You know, she lost her husband and stuff. So she was doing okay for being okay. So I go to meet him for the first time. And I drive 40 minutes away in this crappy vehicle that I have to take for transportation. So I'm already up to here with anxiety. I go in and I start to do a questionnaire, and I'm answering all these questions. And she asked me a certain question. I told her about how my dad passed away, and it had been years, but she stops the test. Stops it. And looks at me and says, we can't treat you here. And I'm in a wheelchair at the time. And my hands were like clasped like this for the longest time, because I was so tense. I couldn't get them to break apart. I didn't even know I was doing that. So she said that they couldn't differentiate the difference between my feelings because my dad passed away compared to my feelings because of this car accident. So I got pretty much just turned away. I have never cried so much after that. I literally rolled out in my wheelchair and called my mom and screamed and cried and begged and said, it took me forever to get here, to come back to this. And I'm not getting any help. So I gave up after that. I gave up for about 2 years after that. And I was done, with everything. I was just like, I am over it. So I ended up moving to Columbus. I moved kind of far away. And that's when I went to ∫ for the first time. After starting to go to ∫, I met my psychiatrist. Her name was Sue Smith. And it was just basically, I saw a counselor and I saw a psychiatrist there. I saw her for about 2-3 years, and she was a woman with very few words. But she knew how to do her job. She had experience. She was older, and she had experience. You just can't buy experience. Like, experience in the classroom and then life experience. And she had both. So I didn't prefer her as a person, but that's either here nor there now. But she had me on a regimen where I was taking half of my dosage of my medication. I was almost like going backwards. Like, that's what you're supposed to do. Okay? When you go see a psychiatrist or a psychologist or whatever, they are supposed to want to work with you to get you off medications, to get you to where you can live a better, free life. She was doing that. Then retirement hit. She retired. It'll be 3 years in October. And that was the last time I have slept good. So she left. We'll start there. She left. She retired, and she can do that. And I went to my internal medicine team and said, hey, can you take over these medications for me until I can find someone else to see? And my internal medicine doctor at the time, she said, hey, Tanya, you've been doing really great. Why don't we just manage your medications here, and you don't have to see the counselors anymore because you're doing really well. And I was like, oh, that's that's smart. Music to my ears, right? She's going to manage all my medications, and I'm on some that are controlled substance. So I was on 2 that were controlled, and then the rest aren't. So I'm feeling great. I'm going to tell you now, I smoke cannabis to relax and to help with depression, anxiety, and all those good things, PTSD and stuff. So at the time, I was only smoking a little bit at night, and that was like that was like not a problem at all. It was just, and then I take half my medicine, and I was like going to bed. When Sue left and Ohio State took over my medication again, the first thing they took me off of was my anti-anxiety medication. And I said, okay. Then they took me off of an a nerve medicine. It's gabapentin, so it's like a nerve blocker. It's for nerve pain, and I've been cut from all the way up from my head to my feet, and put metal in, so I'm gonna have nerve damage. But I guess they just want to take me off of that. Then they took me off of Rexulti, which is a depression booster. So all of these things that they were taking me off of was in the end of 2019, the beginning of 2020, right before COVID hit, right before the whole world went into lockdown. And we had a global pandemic, and 60% of people had more anxiety than usual. But apparently Tanya wasn't supposed to have any more anxiety, not at all. Tanya, they would not help me with any anxiety medication when I would ask for it back. They tried to start me on one, and I tried it. It didn't work, so they said that they couldn't help me anymore. Here we go again. Here we go. That was 2 years in, so I was already having night sweats for over a year straight at this point, to the point where I was waking up twice a night, and my boyfriend was having to help me change the sheets twice a night because of the sweating. They didn't care, apparently. I don't know if they believed me. They just didn't care. And then they started telling me, I would write to let them know, hey, my stimulant is coming up on refill, and it would be a new doctor, and he would be like, you're not getting that anymore. And then it was always like a Friday at 4 o'clock too. And then it would be like, he would say, he would write me back like an hour later, and he would say, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'll send it right over to the pharmacy." Those little things, when doctors do that and they play with your medication, it really fucks with your head real bad. Really, really bad. So they did that every month for 2 years. Sometimes they wouldn't send it over, so I would be without my medication for days upon days. So then I finally was like, okay, I've had enough. I'm going to go back to see somebody that can help me. So OSU said, that's fine. We want to help you. We're going to send you to our bridge clinic. They can bridge your medicines for you until you find a psychiatrist. So that means they would take over my medications. Perfect. Because they're a psychiatrist, a psychiatry center. I would love that, because doctors that work in regular like internal medicine, they're not mental health doctors. So they shouldn't be working with mental health at all. So with that being said, they sent me over to the Bridge Clinic. I went over to the Bridge Clinic at Ohio State thinking like this was going to be the best move ever. I actually went home that night, didn't have any night sweats, because I feel like maybe my body was like saying, like my mind was able to rest, and it was like, oh, you're going to get help. Like you're going to actually get help. No, I didn't. The Bridge Clinic did not prescribe stimulants that I've already been on for 7 years and cannot just be ripped off of. So apparently Ohio State Hospital didn't communicate with their Bridge Clinic before sending me over there with my mental health needs, just to be told no again. So you see that we're getting the no. We're getting the no a lot. Yes, we're getting the no's. So after receiving that last no, at the Bridge Clinic, I was just like, okay, what do I do now? They sent me home with the paper that had numbers on the front and on the back. They said, call these numbers and see if they can help you. And that's what I did. And they either didn't prescribe anxiety medication that would help me, or they didn't prescribe the medication I was already on. So none of those numbers are going to help me either. So that was another rabbit hole that I went down. It was one thing after the other. So then I hear of this place called Path, and I think, I like the name. Maybe I'm on the right path here, right? Am I? Was I? I wasn't. I went there the beginning of this year. It was the anniversary of my car accident the day that I went there. Actually, it was all over the phone. They could never actually see me in person or through webcam. I don't know. So after 2 nurse practitioners, not even a psychiatrist, and 2 counselors later, they tried one anti-anxiety medication, Buspar. It did not work. I was really hoping it would. She said, I knew it wouldn't. They forgot to write my depression medicine for 5 days, 1 month. She told me when I talked to her the next time, what was her exact words? Well, at least you got it. So in between this whole time, in these 6 months, I was reaching out to 𝕤𝕤𝕤 like crazy woman. They had no room for nobody. They were like, we are like jam-packed full because of the pandemic, right? Tanya can't have no anxiety. So I'm like, oh, okay. I talked to Path about a month ago, and all that stuff happened with the Buspar, and she said, of course it didn't work. Like, she knew it wasn't going to work. She knew. And so I said, can we try something else? And she said, no. So if you can help me out with that one, drop that in the comments, because I would love to know why she couldn't help me. And I'm beginning to see that maybe it's because I'm like a long-term patient, and she doesn't have long-term experience. That's one thing I could think of. So finally, because I've been saying so much in this video, I feel like, I finally got back in to see 𝕤𝕤𝕤𝕤. So I went in yesterday. So I'm making this on Friday the 9th. So I went in on Thursday the 8th, and I've been told this a lot of times though, but she told me everything I wanted to hear, everything I needed to hear. And I've always had everything handled at this place. Like, I've always gotten my medications. I've always gotten the right medications. So I'm hoping, pray with me, that they'll be able to help my mental health, because it is hard. Moral of this whole long ass story that I just told you guys is it's so hard, but don't quit trying, because like you'll get there, I promise. Like, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of positivity, it takes a lot of screaming in the closet, but don't just tell people what they want to hear. Don't smile when you don't need to be smiling. If you want to frown, you have the right to do that, and do it, because I didn't, and it's affecting me to this day. Like, I don't even talk to my friends now, so I just don't. But that's my story about my mental health journey, and stay tuned with me, because I'm going back to Centero finally, and they're going to be doing good. I know they will. And I guess I did kind of stay in the same spot the whole time, and it got dark. So, this one took me a long time to record. But I'm going to go back over here to TJ Maxx, because my boo just sent me some money for a blanket, because I really need one. Because I'm going to kill the dogs if I have to wash my blanket for my bed one more time this week. I wash it every day almost, because the dogs get their hair on it and the cat gets hair. And I'm OCD, so, and I'm sure you guys know what that's like. But I'm going to I wanted to list my my mental health, like what is going on with me. That way maybe you guys can relate. But I have PTSD, OCD, insomnia, excessive tremors, anxiety, depression, and I think that might be all. But who knows? There might be some more out there. But thank you so much for joining me for this video. And this one was kind of a weird one, but I wanted to do more with the, the mind, because we do a lot with the body, and the mind is just as important as the body. And I want to make sure that we continue to have a great mind and a great body. So thank you so much for joining me. If you've made it this far, please hit that subscribe button. And if you haven't, click the bell icon to be alerted to all my new content. And I will see you guys in my next video.